Alright, what is up everybody? In this video we're checking out the buffed slash reworked units in the Black Clover Quality of Life update in Anime Last Stand. So we got a complete rework to Goku, a buff to Wukong, and then a divine boost to Noel, and a nerf to Modoky, but I thought I'd throw her in here because I think this is the only other balance change we have. So, by the way, sorry about my ALS being really dark. I don't know why the devs gave me the evil version, but I'm playing evil ALS right now, and that is why I also accidentally uploaded to Julia Showcase instead of Asa. Anyway, okay, enough yapping. Noel, Spirit, with the Divine Boost here. 1.34 mil on placement every 4.46 seconds. This is with Avatar, no enchant, triple S stats, everything, no skill tree. She is going to have a new passive here, Effect Soaked, which is going to pretty much be a buff to water element units. Marked enemies take 25% more water element damage and have a 30% chance to be stunned for 4 seconds. Soak lasts 10 seconds with a 20-second cooldown per enemy. She also has a couple passives here, Water Magic Mastery. Each time Ninel hits a fire element unit, fire element enemy, do 25% more elemental damage with a cap of 75%. Soaking Wet. When attacking enemies marked with Soaked, deal 25% more damage and slow them by 12% for 5 seconds. So she's going to have pretty much just a whole water buffing build. Pretty good for water teams, especially with how many water units we have in the meta, but moving on, pretty cheap so far. 700 placement, she is a heal unit of course, so she is hybrid immediately. Draconic Thrust on upgrade 4. These VFX are pretty old, so nothing new there. That's also why they don't have sound effects, because this is an old unit that got a buff. Draconic Tsunami, upgrade 8. She does gain the ability Water Dragon's Roar, deal 35 billion damage and apply cripple to enemies in range, with a 150-second global cooldown. No animation on that, but pretty good. With a very short cooldown, that's actually pretty strong for a nuke. Max upgrade here. Upgrade 11, she gains Water Nest. Upon activation, enemies inside range and ones who enter range will be permanently marked with Soaked. Every 10 seconds, enemies are in this nest have a 20% chance to be inflicted with cripple, with an infinite global cooldown. So, really, is this actually like an infinite lasting water nest thing? That's actually really good then, for water buffing. We'll kind of check in eventually if that runs out, like if that Soaked goes away. Maybe if I sell the unit actually? Okay, it looks like if I sell her, the nest goes away. Good to know. Okay, but there's Noel. Moving on to Goku, the completely reworked Godly, who is also now a heal unit. 1.5k to place. On placement doing 3.3 mil every 3.31 seconds with the defense enchant glitch trait with 30% team damage to bosses, which is not going to change his stats. That's all. Okay. Auto Instinct passive. This unit is immune to stuns. Every time this unit lands 5 crits, the unit has a guaranteed crit, and it counts crit damage for the next 5 attacks. Each time this unit dodges a stun, it gains 5% more damage with a cap of 25%. So, if I'm reading this right, which I hope this is not true, I hope they messed up on this, a lot to read here. Every time he lands 5 crits, he is going to guarantee crit for the next 5 attacks, which pretty much means he's going to have an infinite crit with boosted crit damage. So I don't understand that. Hopefully that's going to get changed or maybe like reworded, but that is one of his passives. Adaptive Warrior. The unit deals more damage based on the HP the enemies it attacks. If HP over 1 build, do 20% more damage. Over 10 build, 35% more. And all the way up to 1 trillion more, they'll do 100% more damage. So pretty cool. Every 10 waves, this unit's range is increased by 10% with a cap of 50%. And SPA is reduced by 2% with a cap of negative 10%. So, a very strong infinite unit with that, for tanky enemies and also for his own buffing passive there. Instinctual Targeting. This unit is always dealing 10% of his current damage to the strongest enemy in range, until it leaves this unit's range. If the strongest enemy in this unit's AoE, deal 2 times every attack that is in its AoE. A lot to read there, okay, kind of a tongue twister, but pretty much, if a strongest enemy is on the map, is getting hit by 10% of his damage. If it's in his AoE, he's dealing 2 times the damage from that attack. Pretty good, actually. And then Hope of the Universe. For every stack on the base missing, every stock on the base missing, this unit gains 10% damage. Pretty good if you pair him with Anos, but anyways, we upgrade him here. Ultimate Spiritual Bomb, upgrade 4. Pretty good DPS so far. Supreme Kamehameha, upgrade 7. Max upgrade with defense enchant glitch trait. He is doing, oh, hold on, upgrade 12, he gets Divine Avatar as an ability, there we go. And max upgrade 418 every 4.96 seconds. Final Spiritual Bomb as well, he gains on final upgrade. Pretty good DPS if we pop his abilities here. Divine Avatar. Upon activation, this unit is permanently stunned. Every wave this unit is dormant, gain 3% more damage, cap 30%. Once ability is reused, it gets unstunned. This unit will deal 10% less damage for the next 30 seconds after being unleashed. And after these 30 seconds, gain the percent of the damage gained from the ability permanently. Okay. So you want to use it and let a few waves pass. If he gains 3 out of 30 there, And if we were to let that fill up, you can see how much it's going to do. But pretty much we can unstun him here. And that is going to, yeah, okay. Remove the stun, make him do more damage. Final Spiritual Bomb, other ability. Upon activation, a click button appears. Each click grants a 1%, one increment up to a max of 10 clicks. 20 seconds are given to click as much as possible. When the time ends or maximum clicks are reached, deal 10 billion times the number of clicks equals total. Number of towers damage to all. Oh my goodness, okay. A lot to read. 10 billion times the number of clicks times the number of tower damage to all enemies on the map. Increase the unit's tower damage by 20% times number of towers. What in the world? I don't understand what I'm reading. Okay, I'm just gonna use it. Click to charge, re-click, and he nukes, and he probably does a lot. I hope. I have no idea what I'm reading here, but alright. Moving on. The buffed godly here, we have Wukong. This guy, the only thing they changed about him is pretty boring. They just gave him a final upgrade thing, so... We max him out by upgrade 10. He gains the Nirvana ability, which is going to be only usable after wave 15 or higher. So, not the best buff ever. It's another final wave thing, or final upgrade thing, but pop Nirvana here, you'll see him gain a couple new passives. We have the Monkey Sage Mastered. Has mastered the art of cloning himself, increasing his clone cap to 10 instead of 5. So double the clones, which is actually really good for his DPS. And once he reaches that limit of 10 clones, the unit and his clones will all gain a range buff of 15%, and his bolt damage multiplier is increased from 1.2 times to 2 times, which is actually going to be doing a lot more DPS. Empathetic Manipulation. Each attack this unit has a 10% chance to apply Nirvana Binding to an enemy. Nirvana Binding causes enemies marked with this effect to take 100% more damage from Wukong and his clones for 15 seconds. When an enemy comes within 20% of Wukong's range while under the Nirvanic Binding, stun the enemy for 10 seconds. Nirvanic Binding has a 30-second cooldown per enemy. Jeez, a lot to read on all these units, but there's a Wukong buff. Pretty good for his final upgrade, but again, final upgrade buff, in my opinion, doesn't really make units completely viable. And the final thing we have to mention here is with Modoky, the final balance change of this update, which is not a buff, but actually a nerf. We check out Modoky here. Going to be a final upgrade only thing. I believe she was like only 500k or 700k on this final upgrade before. She now costs 1 million on just one final upgrade here, which is really expensive and pretty sad, honestly, pretty tragic, but we can max her out for 1 million. That is the nerf to Modoky. There's every balance change that we know of this update, mostly the buffed units that we know of. They buffed a Godly, reworked a Godly, and gave a Divine boost to Noel. So that is every buffed unit / nerfed unit with Modoky of the Black Clover Quality of Life update. Sorry if I messed anything up. I've been having a rough time on stream today. It's been a very rough update, very long update. Sorry about the evil ALS dark filter, but that is every buffed unit. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one, and have a great day.